You know, you roll into a town called Mountain City,
Hmm.
and you see that friendly hometown welcome sign.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think a story ripped from the darkest corners of the internet was brewing there.
Right.
But buckle up, because that's exactly where this deep dive is taking you.
Okay.
We're unpacking the double murder of Bill Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth back in 2012.
Oh, wow.
Imagine this a brutal attack in their own home with their baby boy thankfully unharmed.
Oh, my gosh.
But right there in the middle of it all,
Wow.
the initial reports were just baffling.
Yeah.
No forced entry, no clear motive.
Right.
Both victims found in their pajamas or underwear.
Really?
It was a shock to everyone,
Yeah.
especially in a small town like Mountain City.
What's fascinating is how this case really shatters that illusion of safety and simplicity
Right.
we often associate with small towns.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that human nature, with all its complexities,
Yeah.
exists everywhere.
Yeah.
And the online world can amplify those complexities
that's-
in ways we might not expect.
So let's set the scene.
Okay.
It's January 31st, 2012.
All right.
Brad Osborne, a friend and coworker of Bill's,
Mhm.
pulls up to the Payne house like any other morning.
Okay.
They usually carpool to the textile plant, but something's off.
So
The house is unusually quiet.
interesting.
He sees a light in Bill's bedroom, tries honking, calling nothing. This seemingly ordinary detail, the silence of the house,
Yeah.
becomes the first crack in the facade of normalcy.
Right.
It's a disruption of routine,
Right.
a subtle hint that something is terribly wrong.
Mm.
Now Brad's worried about being late for work,
Right.
so he lets himself in through the unlocked sliding glass door.
Oh, wow.
Small town trust right.
Yeah.
He hears the baby whimpering but doesn't want to intrude.
No.
Calls out again,
Yeah.
but still nothing.
Wow.
He heads off to work thinking it's strange that Bill isn't there either.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in Brad's shoes?
Oh, gosh. No.
Just walking into that situation not knowing what you're about to find.
It's remarkable how these small everyday occurrences,
Right.
a carpool, an unlocked door, a whimpering baby,
Yeah.
become interwoven with such a horrific crime.
Yeah.
It creates a jarring juxtaposition
Yeah.
between the mundane and the macabre.
Later that morning, Roy Stevens stops by to pick up his mail.
Okay.
They were having it sent to Bill's dad's place.
Right.
He walks in, calls out,
Yeah.
and then, well, he makes a horrifying discovery.
This is where the story takes a truly dark turn.
Yeah.
Roy Stevens, an unsuspecting member of the community,
Right.
stumbles into a scene that would change his life forever.
He finds Bill lying face up on the bed, brutally beaten with blood around his neck.
Oh, my.
Roy's wife, Linda, who's trained in CPR, rushes in, only to realize that Bill's throat had been cut.
Oh, my goodness.
The sheer brutality of the crime scene clashes violently with the peaceful image of Mountain City.
Right.
It's a stark reminder that darkness can lurk beneath the surface of any community. And then, as if that wasn't enough,
Oh, gosh.
Roy hears a noise from another room
Uh-huh.
and finds Billie Jean in the nursery dead in a pool of blood clutching her baby boy.
Oh, no.
Thankfully, the baby was unarmed.
Imagine the emotional turmoil of that moment,
Yeah.
discovering two brutalized bodies and then finding a helpless infant amidst the carnage.
Right.
It's a scene that speaks to the depths of human cruelty
Yeah.
and the fragility of life.
Both Bill and Billie Jean had been shot in the head,
Oh, wow.
and Bill had those deep slashes across his neck.
Gus.
The level of violence was just stunning.
Yeah.
The investigation, of course, began immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Agent Scott Lott with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation led the charge.
Okay.
They found meth at the house,
Uh-huh.
but neither Bill nor Billie Jean had it in their system.
The presence of methamphetamine without evidence of recent use by the victims is a curious detail.
Right.
It suggests the possibility of a drug deal gone wrong,
Yeah. Huh.
a common scenario in homicide investigations.
Yeah.
But as we'll see, this case is far from typical.
Their friends mentioned they'd been planning to buy some pills from Bill the night before,
Ah.
but he canceled.
Okay.
So naturally, the police looked into them,
Right.
but it turned out to be a very small-time thing.
The investigators' initial focus on a potential drug deal highlights their methodical approach.
Okay.
They're considering all plausible scenarios,
Yeah.
meticulously following the evidence,
Right.
even if it leads them down unexpected paths.
Meanwhile, the entire town is buzzing with theories,
Mm-hmm.
especially online.
Yeah.
Remember the Mountain City Topics website?
Oh, yeah.
That's where things start to get really interesting and really twisted.
This is where we begin to see how the internet,
Yeah.
a tool meant for connection,
Right.
can become a breeding ground for conflict.
Yeah.
Anonymity can embolden people to say things they wouldn't dare utter in person.
Yeah.
And we see that play out in the vicious attacks on the forum.
You see that vicious comment we mentioned before? The one that said, I hope they die, and that baby.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it turns out that comment and a whole lot more online vitriol
Wow.
was tied to an escalating feud between Bill and Billie Jean and another family in town, the Potters.
That seemingly throwaway comment on an online forum becomes a chilling foreshadowing
Oh, no.
of the tragic events to come.
Yeah.
It highlights the potential for online hate speech to spill over into real-world violence,
Absolutely.
a disturbing trend we see more and more these days.
Now, let me introduce you to Jaime Curd, Bill's cousin.
Yep.
He's a quiet guy, works at the textile plant, too.
Mhm.
Seems harmless enough.
Right.
But Sean's got a secret.
Oh.
He's in love with Janelle Potter,
Okay.
the daughter of Buddy and Barbara Potter.
Yeah.
The very same Potters at the center of this whole online feud.
Jaime Curd, initially perceived as an unlikely character in this drama,
Yeah.
becomes a pivotal figure in the case.
Right.
His relationship with Janelle Potter provides a direct link between the victims and the family harboring resentment against them.
Right.
It's like something out of a soap opera,
Yeah,
but with incredibly high stakes.
absolutely. The Potters had moved to Mountain City from Pennsylvania a few years back.
Yeah.
And let's just say they didn't exactly win over the locals.
Oh, really?
Buddy especially was known for spinning these outlandish tales about his military service,
Oh, wow.
claiming to be some kind of decorated war hero,
Really?
even a CIA operative.
Oh, my God.
Turns out it was all lies.
Buddy Potter's fabricated military background is a fascinating psychological element in this case.
Right.
It speaks to a deep-seated need for recognition and authority,
Right.
a facade that masks his insecurities.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if that need for control played a role
Yeah.
in the events that unfolded.
Hold on, because this is where it gets really strange.
Okay.
The Potters claimed they were being harassed by Billie Jean and their friends. We're talking sugar and gas tanks.
Oh.
Their truck getting keyed rocks thrown at their house.
Oh, wow.
Even a rock with Bill and Billie Jean's names on it.
Gosh.
And a quote from the movie Tombstone, I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, my goodness. Talk about ominous.
Right. These alleged acts of harassment, if true, suggest an escalation of the conflict beyond mere online bickering.
Yeah.
But it also raises the question,
Yeah.
were these incidents genuine?
Right.
Or were they fabricated to justify the Potters' growing animosity? It's a classic he said, she said situation,
Right.
made even murkier by the online element.
And then there are these bizarre emails
Okay.
between Barbara Potter and someone named Chris,
Okay.
supposedly an old friend of Janelle's,
Mm-hmm.
a CIA agent, no less.
Oh, wow.
The emails are full of threats against Bill and Billie Jean,
Clearly.
justifying violence to protect Janelle.
The introduction of Chris, the supposed CIA agent,
Right.
adds another layer of intrigue to the case.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a spy thriller.
But with a chillingly real-world twist.
It makes you wonder who this Chris really is
Yeah.
and what role he played in influencing the Potters' actions.
Right.
You're not going to believe this.
Right.
But Chris is actually Janelle catfishing her own family.
Oh, my gosh.
She created this whole fake persona,
Wow.
this avenging angel,
Really?
to manipulate her parents into eliminating her perceived enemies.
This is where the case takes a truly shocking turn.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
Janelle, the seemingly vulnerable daughter,
Yeah,
is revealed to be a master manipulator,
right.
pulling the strings from behind a digital mask.
Uh-huh.
It's a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving
Right.
and that manipulation can take on dangerous forms,
Right.
even within families.
So the night before the murders, Jamie gets a call from Barbara asking for help with the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Then very early the next morning, another call, this time from Buddy.
Okay.
He asks Jamie for a favor
Mm-hmm.
and tells him to leave his cell phone behind.
These late night and early morning calls point to a level of planning and coordination
Right.
that's unsettling.
Yeah.
It's as if the pieces of a dark puzzle are being carefully assembled,
Right.
leading to the tragic events that unfold next.
Jamie, feeling obligated
Yeah.
and honestly a little scared of Buddy by this point,
Mm-hmm.
gets in the truck
Mm-hmm.
and they drive to a parking lot near Bill's house. They wait until they see Bill's dad leave for work.
This methodical approach, waiting for the right moment to strike,
Yeah.
underscores the calculated nature of the crime.
Right.
This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act of violence,
Right.
but a carefully orchestrated plan.
And then Buddy gives Jamie a gun.
Oh my gosh.
Jane's terrified,
Wow.
says he can't kill anyone,
Yeah.
but Buddy insists he just needs him to stand guard.
This is a pivotal moment for Jamie.
Yeah.
He's now directly involved in the plot,
Right.
and despite his reluctance, he's complicit in the events that are about to transpire.
Yeah.
It's a classic example of how someone can get caught up
Right.
in a situation they never intended to be a part of.
They sneak into the house through that same unlocked sliding door.
Oh, wow.
Jamie stands there petrified,
Okay.
while Buddy goes into the bedroom.
The repetition of the unlocked door emphasizes the victim's vulnerability
Right.
and the perpetrator's calculated exploitation of that trust.
Right.
It's a chilling detail that underscores the sense of violation.
Jamie hears Bill say, "What the hell?"
Oh, God.
And then a gunshot.
Oh, my.
Billie Jean runs out.
Buddy
Chases after her, another gunshot.
Wow.
Jamie, horrified, runs back to the truck,
Oh, no.
throws up, and later gets a text from Chris saying the
Hmm.
problem is solved.
That cold, detached message from Chris highlights the stark contrast
I know, right?
between Jamie's visceral reaction of horror and nausea
Yeah.
and the manipulator's emotional detachment from the consequences of their actions.
It's chilling.
It's chilling.
Now, remember those shredded papers Barbara tried to hide? When the police arrested Buddy,
Right.
and the emails about can God forgive a murderer?
Yeah.
Well, the police meticulously pieced those papers together.
Wow.
And what they find is a treasure trove of evidence,
Okay.
including those bizarre emails
Yeah.
between Barbara and Chris.
The lengths to which the police go to reconstruct the shredded evidence
Right.
speaks to their commitment to seeking justice for the victims.
Yeah.
It's a testament to their dedication,
Yeah.
even in the face of such a complex and disturbing case.
These emails show Barbara
Yeah.
completely consumed by the feud and
Mhm.
fueled by Chris,
Right.
who's basically egging her on,
Ah.
telling her that violence is the only solution.
Wow.
But there's still this mystery.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
is this Chris guy?
Right.
He claims to be an old friend of Janelle's,
Uh-huh.
knows Buddy from the CIA,
Mm-hmm.
talks about killing people for his job.
Ah.
It's like something out of a bad action movie.
This carefully crafted persona of Chris is a textbook example of catfishing.
Right.
He embodies the classic traits:
Yeah.
a mysterious past, a dangerous profession,
Mhm.
a willingness to use violence to
Yeah.
protect those he cares about.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for manipulation,
Right.
preying on people's vulnerabilities and fears.
So the investigators track down the real Chris Jaden,
Okay.
the one Janelle supposedly knew from high school.
This moment of revelation is crucial to the investigation.
Right.
It dismantles the elaborate facade
Yeah.
that Janelle has created,
Uh-huh.
exposing the truth behind the manipulation.
Yeah.
It's like pulling back the curtain and revealing the wizard, so to speak.
Turns out he's a constable in Delaware.
Hmm.
Never worked for the CIA.
Wow.
And barely remembers Janelle from high school.
Really?
Definitely not the guy sending those threatening emails.
This discovery is a major turning point in the case.
Right.
It confirms the investigators' suspicions that Chris is a fabrication,
Yeah.
a tool used by Janelle to manipulate her family
Uh-huh.
and orchestrate the murders.
Yeah.
It's a chilling realization to think that someone could create such a convincing lie
Right.
and use it to such devastating effect.
But here's the kicker.
What?
The email address Chris was using belonged to Janelle.
Oh my God.
The whole thing starts to unravel.
Right.
Janelle, this seemingly innocent, childlike woman,
Yeah.
had created this online persona
Huh?
to manipulate her parents and Jamie,
Boy.
exploiting their fears and insecurities,
Wow.
turning them into her weapons.
This case serves as a stark reminder
Right.
that anyone, regardless of their perceived vulnerability or innocence,
Yeah.
is capable of manipulation.
Yeah.
It challenges our assumptions about who we can trust
Uh-huh.
and highlights the dangers of unchecked emotional manipulation.
It's a wake-up call for all of us.
It is.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It makes you question everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might be thinking, how could anyone fall for this?
Right.
But remember, Janelle was very good at playing the victim.
Janelle's ability to play the victim is a classic manipulation tactic.
Right.
By presenting herself as helpless
Yeah.
and in need of protection,
Yeah.
she effectively guilt trips her family into becoming her defenders,
Right.
blinding them to the truth of her own actions.
It's like a psychological trap.
Exactly.
Her parents, blinded by their love
Mm.
and overprotectiveness, believed every word.
Wow.
And Jamie, desperate to prove his worth to the Potters.
Yeah.
And when Janelle's affection was all too eager to believe the worst about his own cousin.
This speaks to the complex dynamics within the Potter family.
Yeah.
The parents' unwavering belief in their daughter's innocence,
Right.
coupled with Jamie's desire for acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
creates a perfect storm of vulnerability
Yeah.
that Janelle expertly exploits.
The trials were a media circus, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy went first.
Okay.
He still stuck to his CIA story. But the evidence was overwhelming.
Really?
Those bullet casings in his truck, the phone calls where he confessed to Barbara, even though she tried to cover for him.
Buddy's unwavering commitment to his fabricated persona,
Right.
even in the face of overwhelming evidence,
Yeah.
is a fascinating psychological phenomenon.
Yeah.
It speaks to a level of delusion,
Right.
a desperate attempt to maintain a sense of control
Mm-hmm.
in a situation spiraling out of his grasp.
He was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to 2 life terms,
Oh, God.
stone-faced the whole time.
Buddy's stoicism in the face of his conviction is a chilling reminder of the emotional detachment
Right.
that can accompany such heinous acts.
Yeah.
It raises questions about his capacity for remorse
Right.
and the psychological toll of his own deceit.
Then came Janelle, Shamey, and Barbara's trial.
Okay.
Shamey had struck a deal. She testified against the women in exchange for a lighter sentence.
James' decision to cooperate with the prosecution,
Right.
while understandable given his desire to avoid a life sentence,
Yeah.
raises complex questions about the justice system's reliance on plea bargains.
Yeah.
It highlights the delicate balance between seeking accountability
Yeah.
and obtaining truthful testimony.
His testimony was powerful,
Okay.
detailing everything.
Mm.
And it helped seal their fate.
Barbara, wheelchair-bound and frail,
Right.
and Janelle dressed in her usual meek attire,
Uh-huh.
both sobbed dramatically when the guilty verdict was read.
Yeah.
2 more life sentences.
The dramatic display of emotion from Barbara and Janelle,
Yeah.
in stark contrast to Buddy's stoicism, is a curious detail.
Right.
Is it genuine remorse or a calculated performance aimed at eliciting sympathy? The answer, I'm afraid, remains elusive.
The town, and especially the families of Bill and Billie Jean,
Yeah.
felt a sense of relief justice served.
Yeah.
But there were still so many questions.
So many questions.
How could this seemingly ordinary family be driven to such extremes?
Right.
Was it truly just about an online feud?
Yeah.
Or were there deeper psychological forces at play?
That's the question that lingers long after the trials conclude.
It does.
It speaks to the enduring mystery of human motivation,
Yeah.
the complex interplay of personality, circumstance, and the power of manipulation.
Right.
It's a question that continues to fascinate psychologists and criminologists alike.
Absolutely.
And then there was that Unfriended episode on 2020.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Barbara and Janelle still in prison, still denying everything.
Really?
Barbara even tried to pin it all on Jamie, saying he'd faked the emails.
Mm.
And Janelle, she just cried and said, no, 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 over and over.
Classic Janelle.
Classic Janelle.
The Potters' continued denials, even in the face of overwhelming evidence and conviction,
Right.
demonstrate a level of denial and self-deception that's both fascinating and disturbing.
It's unbelievable.
It raises questions about the human capacity for rationalization
Yeah.
and the lengths we'll go to protect our own self-image, even when confronted with undeniable truth.
It's like they've created their own reality.
Right.
One where they're the victims, not the perpetrators.
Even Agent Lott had his own theory,
Yeah.
wondering if maybe it wasn't just about the online feud,
Right.
but about Janelle's unrequited crush on Bill.
Agent Lott's alternative motive theory adds another layer of complexity to the case.
It does.
It suggests that beneath the surface of online conflict,
Yeah.
there may have been deeper, unspoken emotions driving the events.
Right.
It's a reminder that human behavior is rarely straightforward,
Right.
and that there are often hidden currents influencing our actions.
So what does this all mean?
Right.
How could seemingly ordinary people be driven to such a horrific act?
Yeah.
And what does it say about the power of online personas?
Yeah.
The dangers of unchecked manipulation, even within families?
This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature,
Right.
the fragility of trust,
Yeah.
the insidious ways in which manipulation can take root and flourish. Even in the seemingly safe haven of a small town,
Right.
it's a story that stays with you.
It does.
A reminder that darkness can lurk in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
It is.
How Janelle was able to construct this whole alternate reality, twisting her family's perception of events,
Right.
ultimately turning them into her pawns.
Yeah.
It's a story that makes you think twice about the people you interact with online
Right.
and the information you consume.
Absolutely.
You've hit the nail on the head.
This deep dive has been disturbing,
It has.
but incredibly eye-opening.
But important.
A story that forces you to confront
Yeah.
the dark potential that exists within us all.
Right.
But it also highlights the importance of awareness,
Absolutely.
intervention, and critical thinking
Yeah.
as safeguards against manipulation and violence.
It's a reminder that we're all vulnerable to manipulation,
We are.
especially in the digital age where
Yeah.
information spreads so rapidly. And it can be difficult to discern truth from fiction. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the heart of Mountain City,
Okay.
here's a final thought for you.
Right.
How well do you really know the people in your online world? And what steps can you take to protect yourself and your loved ones
Right.
from the dangers of manipulation both online and offline?
That's a good question.
Because sometimes the most unassuming individuals
Right.
can harbor the darkest secrets,
Right.
and the most seemingly harmless online interactions
Uh-huh.
can have devastating real-world consequences.
It's a thought-provoking question,
It is.
and one that we should all consider carefully.
Yeah.
The internet has blurred the lines between reality and fantasy,
Right.
making it more important than ever to be discerning,
Yeah.
to think critically,
Right.
and to protect ourselves from those who would exploit our vulnerabilities.
It's almost impossible to grasp how something that started with a
Yeah.
few nasty comments online
Right.
could escalate to a double murder.
You'd think there would have been some warning signs,
Right.
some indication that things were spiraling out of control.
The seemingly insignificant origin of the conflict
Right.
is what makes this case so disturbing.
Yeah.
It shatters the illusion that horrific acts are always the result
Right.
of deep-seated hatred or premeditation.
Right.
This case seems to be a toxic blend of immaturity,
Yeah.
unchecked manipulation, and a failure to address conflict in healthy ways.
What if someone had stepped in?
Right.
What if the police had taken those harassment claims more seriously?
Yeah.
What if Janelle's parents had questioned her stories,
Hmm.
looked beyond her sweet and innocent facade?
Those what-ifs are the haunting echoes of this case.
Yeah.
They underscore the importance of recognizing the signs of manipulation.
Right.
We need to be able to intervene in escalating conflicts
Yeah.
and foster a culture of critical thinking,
Yeah.
especially in the online world,
All right.
where anonymity can embolden aggressors. It's a stark reminder that we all have a responsibility to be vigilant,
Absolutely.
to question what we see online,
Right.
and to challenge those who spread hate and misinformation.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back and assume that someone else will take care of it.
We can't.
This deep dive has been incredibly disturbing,
Yeah.
but also incredibly important.
It's a story that forces you to confront the darker side of human nature
It does.
and the potential for evil that exists in us all.
Yeah.
But it also underscores the importance of awareness,
Right.
intervention, and critical thinking.
Right.
Those are our most powerful tools in the fight against manipulation and violence.
This case is a chilling reminder
It is.
that the internet is a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool for connection and communication,
Right.
but also a platform for deceit,
Yeah.
manipulation, and the spread of harmful ideologies.
Right.
It's up to each of us to use this tool responsibly
Absolutely.
and to be vigilant against those who would exploit it for malicious purposes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the heart of Mountain City,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
How well do you really know the people in your online world? What steps can you take to protect yourself and your loved ones from manipulation,
Right.
both online and offline?
Yeah,
The Mountain City murders are a stark reminder
they are.
that the virtual and real worlds are inextricably linked.
Right.
What we do and say online has real-world consequences,
Absolutely.
both for ourselves and for others.
Right.
Stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe.